Hi, my name's Steve and welcome to the Seaside Allotment Channel, and today I'm answering a question from Mike and Jan. They've got the Bookend Allotment Channel and they've asked 5 reasons why I YouTube, and I guess that makes why I make YouTube videos. Now I'm not sure I can get to 5, but I'll give it a go. So I guess the first reason, and I think it's probably common to almost everybody who started a YouTube channel, is they wanted a visual diary. And in my case, I think that was particularly important to me because I was trying to extend the season. You know, right from the very first time when I got the allotment 3 years ago, I wanted to grow early and I wanted to extend late, and now I grow all year round. And that's kind of, everybody who does that, it's a unique situation for them. When you grow in the main seasons and you're using ideal planting times, then you know there's a lot of shared knowledge that can go around, and you know you can pick up any book and basically apply what it says, and the seed packets are provide reliable information. But when you're doing something 2 months earlier than you should be, or 2 months later than you should be, there's no real guidance. You have to figure it out for yourself. And when you do take guidance from people, you often find it's wrong because it's wrong for your circumstances. You know, here by the sea, you know, it's quite mild, but it's also very damp. You know, it's very windy. You know, so there's all sorts of different things. You know, everybody has their own little microclimate. So by creating a visual diary, I just found it incredibly useful. You know, that each year I could look back at what I'd done exactly during that week. I could compare where things were. I could see what was working, what wasn't working, and modify things and improve things. And I've found that really invaluable. So in some ways, the most frequent videos that I watch are my own videos, and it's pretty it's pretty self-centered. But yeah, so I do watch a lot of my own videos, and that's kind of where I started, and YouTube just seemed like a logical place to put them because I'd seen other people sharing their allotment adventures on YouTube, and I thought, yeah, this is pretty good, and I learned quite a lot from them. So the second thing really was that I wanted some sort of creative outlet, and so I'll give you a bit of backstory for this. So when I was working towards the sort of last 3 or 4 years of my life, I was in strategy. I was doing IT and business strategy, and I was pretty ill, and I had arthritis in all my joints, and you know, I was, you know, wasn't good. And the allotment kind of cured me to a pretty large extent of that, and you know, there's a whole separate discussion about how that happened. But the what I did during those last few years, I realised, because I was only working 10 hours a week, that I just didn't have time to give repeat presentations and talks and things like that. So I would just video them, and I would also write written answers in the form of blog posts. And so I built up this library of blog posts and videos, and so when anybody said, oh, can you give that presentation again, well, I'll just, you know, send them a link to the video, and that was a job done. And that was fantastic because it meant that, you know, basically I had no redundant work. Everything I did, just did it once and then reused it. So I was in this habit of reusing things. So when I retired, one of the things I committed to myself was I was going to spend much more of my time outdoors. I was going to spend much less time sitting down. And so I didn't want to write blog posts anymore and written diaries. I wanted to, you know, and I didn't want my creative outlet effectively to be in the written form. So I decided to do it in the visual form. So I was already quite familiar with making these videos for work, but yeah, so that's kind of second reason that I got into it. I just wanted this creative outlet, and I wanted something that was, you know, really minimalist. You know, making videos isn't my hobby. My hobby is gardening and all the community related things surrounding that. So, you know, I wanted a really simple approach, and so I just used my camera, and I hardly ever use a tripod. So for all those people who are always saying, Steve, will you just use a tripod? This is a rare treat. I am actually using a tripod. And yeah, so I just walk around and just take, you know, the simplest videos, a single take, no editing, and just publish them straight off my phone. So it couldn't get any simpler than that. So really, you know, I was just basically just walking around looking at my plot and talking about it, and that just takes, you know, 10-15 minutes a week or something like that. So it's really minimalist. So I loved that about YouTube. Fantastic. So the next sort of thing that kind of ticked along in this story was that and I guess this is my third reason, that I realised that after about 6 months, probably 9 months of having an allotment, that I hadn't got everything sorted, and so I still got a lot of weed issues, and still things weren't growing very well, and I wasn't really sort of up on plot management, and so when I started doing the YouTube videos, I realised that it provided a kind of regular trigger for me to sort of just walk around the plot as I did the tour, assess everything, tidy everything up a bit, clear beds, replant beds and things like that. So it kind of provided that regular weekly trigger, and I found that was really, really useful, and it motivated me to keep the plots tidy, keep them largely weed free, keep them well managed, keep planting things and all that sort of thing. And that was really great. And I don't really need to do that anymore, because I realised pretty quickly that a tidy plot is a really easy plot to look after. It's a really pleasurable plot to look after. And because we harvest twice a week, I realised the best thing I could do was, forget the videos and tidying up when I did the videos. As I went round harvesting, I'd have 2 buckets. I'd have a harvesting bucket and I'd have a weed bucket. And so I'd just do the weeding as I did the harvesting, and because I'm paying attention to the crops as I'm as I'm harvesting, I'm seeing the weeds, I just pull them out and no problem at all. And it doesn't matter that my fingers get mucky with the weeds, because I'm always harvesting into water so I can wash the soil off and everything, so it's great. So that kind of fits with my personality, because I'm very much an 80-20 person, and what I mean by that is I like to do the 20% of work that yields the 80% of benefit, and forget the other, getting to 100%. I'm not bothered about that. I'm inherently lazy, and so that was the next reason. And then kind of the next tick along from that was that I really started to enjoy the community side of the YouTube videos and get lots of really nice comments, lots of constructive criticism as well, which is pretty good, and some real great hints and tips. And I realised that if I focused my videos on the things that I was doing that were kind of out of the ordinary, then I'd get even more useful feedback, and I'd be providing even more useful hints and tips to other people. So it's kind of motivated me to push the boundaries of what I'm doing and try to find more interesting things to keep on trying, and that's new varieties of things to grow, that's new ways to manage the plot, that's new kind of economic models for how I'm running things, new lifestyle choices, new ways to make things easy, all that. So a huge kind of creative opportunity really to improve my life, grow more stuff, help more people, whilst at the same time sharing that with the broad audience. So I've really enjoyed that aspect of it as well. And I guess finally, I think there's a community. So I've mentioned already that there's the community of people who watch the YouTube videos all over the world, which is kind of amazing, and so you get so much feedback from far-flung places. But also our allotment site's really big. I can't remember that exactly, but I think there's about 160 different plots, and I don't know everybody by any means, and it's hard to get to know everybody. But surprisingly, quite a lot of people know me now, and so when I'm doing interesting things, people come see me, and when we have open days, people come see me, and that's fantastic. And I also use this as an opportunity to kind of say, we've got surpluses of things like this, pop in and if you need anything. And because we're growing early and late in the season, lots of people do pop in, which is really lovely. I'm regularly in the spring. We're not quite in big surplus mode yet, but in spring people are always popping in for lettuces and radishes, and in the summer popping in for more unusual stuff they want to try out and see if they like it. And increasingly, as I learn a little bit about what I'm doing, people are popping in for hints and tips. And so that just wouldn't happen, I don't think, if it weren't for YouTube. That it's just it's just not practical for me to spend all my time wandering around 160 plots chatting to people, but it is practical to sort of be here and for people to pop in and see me. And so I have a sign at the entrance and say, please come in and walk around. And there's quite a few people that we've got really strong relationships here with, and I encourage them to come and harvest off my plot as well. And so we end up with really nice bi-directional kind of relationships there, where I harvest cherries off somebody's plot and they harvest lettuce on mine and things like that. So it's really nice. So I think that's kind of all the positives that I can think of around why I YouTube. Now I will just kind of use this, I suppose, just to throw out a little note of caution to other YouTube makers, because YouTube can be quite seductive, and in the early days I did notice that I was kind of drawn to produce videos, just for the sake of producing videos really. I didn't have anything specific to say, I just wanted to make a video to get my view up, and so pretty quickly, I think within a few months I realised that wasn't doing me any good, and so I stepped back from that, and now I try to be fairly disciplined. Maybe I don't always achieve it, but I try to be fairly disciplined and make videos that have got a real purpose. Now that's not to say that there's not other ways to do YouTube. I mean, there's fantastic people who do 3 videos a week, incredibly entertaining, and then there's others that are kind of more like soap operas to watch, and there's others where they show all the fine details of how to manage a plot and how to plant seeds, and everything that they're doing on the plot every day, and that's amazing. There's an audience for all of those, but in my case I didn't want that. What I wanted was to focus on the gardening, and just occasionally, maybe once a week, to produce videos to complement that activity. And so as a result of focusing in on that kind of video, I've done a few things. So I've taken the YouTube app off my phone, so I can't watch YouTube and can't see my stats, can't comment or anything like that when I'm using my phone. So I can only do it when I've got my laptop out at home, and even then it's a rare thing, so it's only something maybe I just look twice a day or something like that. So I try to not get drawn into producing YouTube videos. I'm not a YouTube videoer, I'm a gardener, and I feel so much better about it now. I'm not making videos to make money, I'm not making them for views, I'm not making them for comments, although I do love comments. It's really nice to have feedback, but that's not the purpose. The purpose is to garden and just to share the gardening. So I think I'm pretty much talked out on that topic now, and so I've got to nominate 5, which is kind of unusual for these challenges. Normally it's 3, 5 other people, which is a struggle for me because I'm not a big YouTube video watcher. I do actually prefer, my favourites are probably the market gardening YouTubers rather than the allotmenteers, but anyway, I think I could probably get to 5. So let's go through them. I'm always recommending the same people, unfortunately. So it's Nigel MuddyBootz channel. Now Nigel's a big inspiration to me. He's not so much of an 80-20 person as me. He likes to do things right, and so I make a point of never doing anything on my showing people how to do anything on my videos that Nigel does, because he always does a better job of it than me. So I always just point people to Nigel's channel, and if you want to learn how to do it properly, Nigel MuddyBootz channel is the place to go. So next one, again, one of my firm favourites is Tony from UK Here We Grow, and yeah, so he's great, seasoned, he's been doing it forever, and yeah, some really great tips, and he's got such scale as well. So there you can see how to garden when you've got a huge amount of space, huge polytools and everything. It's amazing, his setup that he's got. Mike Hurdiss, Mike's fabulous, and Mike's just probably the best example on YouTube that I know of somebody who does
small holding scale allotmenting, and he does a fabulous job of it, and he kind of makes the whole thing look effortless. And it's very different to the way that I garden. You know, I garden a huge number of varieties of things all year round, pretty much self-sufficient in pretty much self-sufficient in veg and, you know, summer fruits. And you know, Mike grows a lot less than me in terms of varieties, but he just does scale. He just does fabulous scale, and yeah, it's just a joy to watch. And so the things that he does, he's totally got the hang of them, and yeah, it's a delight. So the next one would be Terry. Now he's changed his channel name, I think, and it's Robotic Allotment on a Budget, I think, at the moment. And yeah, he does more experiments than me. I mean, he's just crazy with all of his experiments, and he's massively invested in doing things on a budget. And so he's yeah, it's just really impressive to see how he makes everything himself, and you know, never buys anything. It's fantastic. And you know, that's again a completely different approach to me. I'm focused on growing the maximum amount of food, feeding the maximum amount of people, and you know, the value that I take off the allotment is so great that I don't worry about spending £100 here or £100 there. It's just nothing to me, because you know, I'm harvesting, you know, thousands of pounds a month of food, so it doesn't matter. But you know, for Terry and his focus, he's growing less stuff, and he's growing it really, really well, and he's growing it really, really cheaply, and that's, you know, it's constant joy to watch, but it's also a challenge because we're doing things in quite a different way. So it's always challenging me, you know, am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? Can I improve here and that, whatever. And so what's the last one? So that would probably be Patrick. What's his channel called? 1 Yard Revolution. So that's in Canada, I think. Maybe not in Canada. Anyway, somewhere sort of North America-ish. And yes, I love his channel, and so he's kind of closest perhaps to what I'm doing, but with very different weather conditions. But he does grow all year round. He grows a huge amount of stuff. He's got loads of perennials, like we've got. You know, we're converting Debbie's plot essentially to be a perennial plot, and yeah, he just does a fabulous job. I mean, he's really got his systems in place, and his timing's perfect, and he grows, you know, lots of stuff under cover just like I do. So I learn loads of stuff from him. But again, this is, you know, like I said at the beginning of the video, lots of what he does just doesn't work for me. Even though he's colder in winter than I am, you know, things would, you know, his planting densities are so high, I would just get moulds everywhere, you know, because it's just too humid and warm here. Even though it, you know, regularly gets below freezing, but it just doesn't get that cold where, you know, the moulds still thrive here. So yeah, so those are the ones, and yeah, and all fantastic channels that I really love. So with that, I think I'll just say thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.